Vivek Ramaswamy posted this over the weekend. This tweet, he says, on day one, instantly fire 50% of federal bureaucrats. Here's how. If your social security number ends in an odd number, you're fired. That downsizes government by half. Absolutely nothing will break as a result. It doesn't violate civil services rules because mass layoffs are exempt. Shut it down. Then he continued to elaborate. This avoids civil service protections. No bureaucrat can claim their firings were politically motivated. Further firings can be executed with a chisel, but step one needs to be an unrestrained chainsaw, or else it just won't happen. Now, this plan's getting a reaction from people online. And first, let me just say that the idea that we should just fire 50% of federal bureaucrats is totally outrageous and insane. And I agree with a lot of what Ramaswamy says, but this is just nonsense. 50%? It should be 90%. But I guess 50 is a good start. So as a start, I love the idea. Lots of people have bristled at it, as you might imagine, including plenty of alleged conservatives are upset about this. You know, the people who have been talking about shrinking the size of government for decades, and then someone comes along and says, all right, let's do it, guys. And those same people say, no, wait, it's not like that. I mean, okay, well, what way do you want to do it? Oh, not at all. That's the way. The way I want to do this thing is to not do it. That was my preferred strategy. And this is what you have to understand. Every Republican for my entire life has run on a plan, and before my life began, has run on a plan to cut the size of government and reduce spending and all the rest of it, and none of them have done it. Okay, none of them have even tried to do it. That's not even like they've made an attempt. None of them have even cut the size of government or cut spending by like 0.5%. Instead, they've all increased it. Every single one. None of them have reduced the size of the behemoth federal bureaucracy. They've really just added to it. And that's because at this point, actually cutting this thing down, really making a dent, would require a drastic action like this. And so if you support a candidate who is not suggesting seemingly drastic, extreme measures, then that is someone who is not actually going to do this at all, because that's the only way to do it. This thing, the federal bureaucracy, is so big and so unwieldy and so outrageously enormous that you can't help to achieve anything by making surgical cuts with a scalpel. And again, even that, no Republican president has done. But that wouldn't be enough, because whatever little lump you cut off will just grow back before dinner time. That's how huge this thing is. It's a huge self-replicating organism. And if you're not taking a chainsaw to this thing, an unrestrained chainsaw, as Vivek Ramaswamy says, then you aren't doing anything. Do you know, since we're on the subject, do you know how many people work for the federal government? Right now, the federal government has close to 3 million employees. And that is just the civilian workforce, okay? So that's not everybody who works that's not even close to everybody who works for the federal government, but the civilian workforce is close to 3 million employees. So if you cut half of them, you would still have over 1 million people on the payroll. You would still have more people than work for Google, Apple, Facebook combined ×2 if you cut half. You'd still have enough people to fill like 14 NFL stadiums. Isn't that enough? How could that not be enough? I mean, can we get by? Can we get by with 14 NFL stadiums full of people running the government? There are so many, and here's the other fact. Not only can you and should you cut half of the federal workforce, but if you did, none of us would notice a difference. I'm telling you right now, if they were just to cut 50% and not tell us, you would never know. You would never know. They could come back 10 years later and say, oh, by the way, we cut 50% of the workforce 10 years ago. You say, oh, really? Like, your life, if it changes at all, it would be for the better. But really, there'd just be no difference. You would never notice. Okay, if you don't work in the government, not that I have, but I'm telling you, you have no idea how useless most of these people are. Not all of them, but most of them. There are so many, thousands and thousands of federal jobs that serve no purpose other than just for their own sake. And they help no one. They do nothing. It is redundancy on top of redundancy on top of redundancy. We have entire agencies, entire departments, entire bureaucracies within the greater bureaucracy that could be wiped off the face of the planet tomorrow, and you would never know. Now, I read somewhere that the bureaucracy that ran the Roman Empire had like 20 or 30,000 employees, which was a lot at the time. By comparison, though, that's only a little more than currently run the city of Boston. Okay? 30,000 to run an empire, the biggest empire on the globe at the time, and now we need 30,000 to run Boston, and not run it well, by the way. Grand Canyon University is an affordable private Christian university based in Phoenix, Arizona. They're dedicated to making education fit into your already busy schedule, which is why they offer 270 of their academic programs online. From scholarships to academic support, GCU's graduation team provides you with the personal support you need to obtain your goals. GCU's online programs offer you the freedom to earn your degree on your own time from wherever you are. GCU is praised for its culture of community, giving, and impact. They integrate the free market system and a welcoming Christian worldview into all of their academic programs. Achieve your goals with a personalized plan and a supportive team behind you. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu. That's gcu.edu. We have 3 million people running our country, and that does not include the millions upon millions collectively who work for states and cities across the country. So that's not all the government workers. It's not even close. Altogether, okay, city, federal, state, government, altogether, only civilians. That's something like 20 million, okay? It's actually more than that, but about 20 million. And that means that like 1 out of every 15 people in the country works for the government at some level. 1 out of every 15. I'm doing a lot of math here. This is getting pretty dangerous. And I'm going to get a fact check, but I'm pretty confident in these numbers. The point is, it's a lot, okay? It is a lot. It's so much that the saying a lot doesn't even come close to covering it. And these people are not working for free, by the way. Just so you know, this is billions of dollars. Billions and billions of dollars that we are spending just on the payroll for all these people. Most of whom their jobs could not exist, and it would only make your life better. If you noticed it all, it would only be for the better. So yeah, should we go in and cut 50%? Yes, absolutely. And if that seems extreme to you, exactly. Because that's the situation that we're in. If you bristle at that, then it only shows that you don't understand. You do not understand how bad it is and just how much you are being scammed. Like most of these jobs, I say they serve no purpose. That's not exactly true. Most of these jobs serve the purpose of giving jobs so that other people in government can give jobs to their friends and family and everything else. It's a giant nepotism program that you are funding. Like you can barely afford to buy groceries at the grocery store for your family, and you are funding this massive welfare scheme for federal bureaucrats. And once you understand that, and you hear 50% being cut, your only reaction is mine, which is like, that's not enough. I'll take it, but that's just the start. 50%, then let's cut another 50 and let's keep going. And I think every other candidate in the race right now should be asked, do you support that plan? And if you don't, why? What is your plan? Okay, do you have a plan for getting rid of 50% of these bureaucrats? Because if you don't, you better come up with one. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.